Once upon a time, there were two best friends. One of them had a computer and the other one sucked.
Do it.
I got it queued up. It's ready to go.
You got it W'd up. G'd up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chill On with the Villains. We're here, and Q is training the dogs. Nothing?
Yeah, no.
Your response? Your rebuttal, sir?
I'm not here.
Alright, I'll carry the show.
I'm a figment of your imagination.
My fellow Americans.
Does that mean we're both hallucinating Tokyo?
You're also a figment of his imagination.
Does that mean I get Tokyo's room?
Yeah.
No, because you're a figment.
No, I'm not a fig. I don't come from a tree.
A figment.
Well, okay, I don't come from a tree and an herb. Dude, you don't know.
Did you take an herb just now?
Roche, what do you work? Come here, buddy.
Anyway, first topic of the day. What is that kind of like one flavor or flavoring that you'll always eat or you'll always drink, but everyone's like, you're a fucking psychopath?
Milk. Oh. Sorry, I led you too much on that one.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, no, I still don't. What is it?
So
All
like,
right.
I really like eucalyptus as a flavor.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people are like,
I thought that was poisonous.
it's a flavoring. You could like eucalyptus, like minty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I just thought it was poisonous.
I don't fucking know.
Well, so like more importantly, like mentholy, minty, like I love that shit.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Except for like you, everyone's like, you're crazy. What's wrong with you?
What? When? Who? Give me names. I'll find them.
Kaylee, fire her.
Easy. That's easily done.
But yeah, so I will. It's in like the opposite direction. I really fucking love vanilla, but everyone's like, that's fucking boring. You know?
Yeah, but anyone who says that is actually just a boring person trying to be more exciting by not liking vanilla.
Yeah, because vanilla's the fucking best.
Vanilla's not the problem. That person is the problem. You hear me? All y'all vanilla bashers, you feel me? You're boring. Peace. That's it. That's the whole chillin'.
That's garbage.
Next topic is Get Out.
Okay, speaking of Get Out, what are some, like, movies, like, recent movies, that everyone's like, oh, this is great, you need to watch this, and it's like, you feel like you should, but you just have no fucking desire to.
Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one for whatever reason wasn't that interesting to me.
Bruh, it's like, whatever, okay? So, from what I could glean from the trailers and the YouTube reviews and everybody on social media, and also everybody in real life, the movie was like a shoehorned Batman attempt at
Like armchair psychology.
Eat the Rich.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Or, like, that's what everyone turned it into, was, like, this psychoanalysis and commentary on, like, wage gaps.
Yeah, and it's just like, can I just have Batman?
Yeah.
That's all I want. I
So-
just want to watch more superhero shit.
So it was interesting to me through the trailers when it was like, okay, this is kind of a different take on the Joker's origin story.
Uh-huh.
I was super interested in that, mega into that. And then when not like impressions started coming out, and it was like people were already theorizing that. So the main character Arthur turns into the Joker,
Right.
or whatever. They're like, oh, maybe he's like the original Joker and he spawns imitation Jokers, which leads to the Batman Joker that we know. And I was like, okay, that's an interesting take. And then I kept seeing more and more of it. I'm just like, oh, it's whatever. Like, I want to watch Get Out. Like, I want to watch it.
Uh-huh.
I have no desire. It's not even remotely interesting to me. And I don't know why. Everything about it seems right up my alley in terms of like a thriller or a horror movie, in which like, oh, the real monster is man and all that shit. Like, that shit's lame and pretentious, but I eat it up.
Yeah,
I fucking eat that shit up.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about Jokers. It's like the real villain is society, and it's like, no,
Bottom text.
real villain is the murderer.
Yeah.
Society might suck, but that don't mean be a murderer.
You know, it'd be an interesting way to do Joker. Would be there'd be like two. You wouldn't see it at first. Like you could start the first. I don't know. You could flash back between two characters, kind of thing. But the kind of concept I'm coming up with is when you see the world through Joker's perspective, what he's doing is good. And then when you see it through somebody else, be it Batman or whatever, there's like some guy that keeps fucking with people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know exactly how you would do it.
I know what you mean, though.
You see what I'm trying to say? Like, you wouldn't know. Like, maybe partway through the movie, you would see what the Joker's doing, but from someone else's perspective.
Yeah.
Like, you could literally change how people look.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in one of the worlds, you know, the criminals are wearing, like, nicer clothes and they look better or whatever, and they're doing, like, normal stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you see it, and, like, by the end of the movie, you can kind of see...
The world's kind of merging.
Right, and you see what reality is, and it almost makes him more understandable that he's not... In his view, this is how he sees what he's doing is better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. Anyone? Either of you guys watch Gotham?
Yeah, we
No.
watch it together.
In season 1 of Gotham, they kind of like they're showing like all the origin stories, right, for all the villains and stuff. It's supposed to be very young Bruce Wayne, not Batman yet, but like post his parents' death, Bruce Wayne, and like his interactions with the world around him, and how all of these villains are growing up, how they're going to become the people that they're going to become. And they had an entire episode that alluded to the Joker and like who was going to be the Joker. And by the end of the episode, the person who was very clearly the Joker dies.
Yeah.
But specifically as his like last effort before he dies, it's spreading his ideology. And the idea that another Joker will rise again because he existed. And that the Joker isn't necessarily a person, it's an ideology that will continue to spawn and can never truly be killed.
Yeah.
That was real interesting until later when they brought that guy back from the dead and plot twist, he is the Joker, and it ruined the entire concept.
Yeah.
And I feel like those episodes were written by two different writers.
Dude, we just gotta wait for him to blow himself up with his own lightning again for the fourth time.
And the Sith, they're constantly in battle. Rewrites the story. The Jedi and Palpatine are constantly in battle.
I've altered the deal. So, like, one of my favorite recent kind of comic book things that have happened is the Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's, like, a cool take on Batman kind of just becoming this... So, it's a Batman who, like, fuses with Joker toxin. The laughing Joker thing, and he... just becomes this like all-powerful fucking agent of chaos, and I just think it's really fucking cool. I want more of that, like
it's the world's greatest detective
with a fucking psychopath
that has the personality of Joker. That's all that it is. Is Joker essentially now has all of the
Batman's
brains
powers
and combative powers of Batman, which is terrifying.
Yeah,
it's fucking terrifying.
There was for some fucking reason, so on my phone, I regularly get, there's the like Google feed or whatever, and I regularly get things for comics, and I don't know why. I think it's because there's a lot of anime and anime adjacent things that, you know, like that's on my phone. Because shout out Google, fucking stop spying on me. Like, I regularly get, like, comic book updates and stuff, or, like, something similar to that. So Marvel is doing this thing of like, it's like the end or whatever, and it's just showing like the death of this hero super past in the future. Like,
Right.
so like, for one, Miles Morales, his Spider-Man, his version of the end is fucking dope. It's so goddamn cool. Deadpool literally becomes the Batman who laughs.
Huh.
And it's super fucking cool. I don't know. So I go back and forth with comic books, right?
Uh-huh.
In which I regularly feel like, man, this is the fucking coolest shit. And then I'll see one thing, I'm like, comic books are stupid and should be destroyed.
Yeah. that's
Anime
true.
was a mistake.
Uh-huh.
What is something else, like a different medium, you feel about that?
Dota.
That's less of a medium and more of a self-torture device. So keep your kinks out of my channel.
It's great and I love it and it needs to be destroyed.
Yeah, that's how I feel about wrestling.
Like, I totally understand the Lord of the Rings and the obsession with the ring because I'm a Dota player.
Yeah.
Like, I really need to throw Dota into the fiery pits of Mordor. But, goddamn, as I'm standing there,
I like seeing that green W.
I will say no.
GG no re. Oh.
I'm thinking. There are certain phases of music that I think are really cool.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while something will get really popular and I'm just like, no.
It's like, I hate this.
No, I really hope this, and then it gets super popular, and I'm like, stop. And then it's like everybody's doing it, and that's all the radio is, and I'm like, no. That can be kind of like that.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking of different, like comics outside of Marvel or DC, like not even just comparing the two of them, but like Saga Yojimbo or East of West or Rat Queens or Why the Last Man. There are definitely some interesting comics around like cool concepts that it feel like a lot of the time devolve almost like a really good D&D campaign.
Like, it kind of bastardizes itself.
You have a really cool D&D campaign and then it ends up with you're like, I got this character and I have all this backstory, and then it kind of becomes the same person that you play in every D&D campaign.
So like what happened with your most recent campaign, which that ending was dope. I wasn't even a part of it, and I still wanted it to happen.
Yeah. And maybe that's part of that is people are just they're whatever their idea.
They gravitate to what's familiar.
Yeah, they gravitate towards certain tendencies when they do things, or like if things aren't working, they're not willing to try something and fail. They're not willing to let go of their character or something. I don't know. I bet you could do like a whole bunch of psychology.
On D&D
like
characters.
somebody who makes like if you just looked at a character like a month into like a campaign, you could probably tell a lot about a person. Honestly, unless they're really good actors. But I mean that's why I enjoy when you play because I think all three of us try to at least do this. I see it the most in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Is like the characters like really do become the characters, and like I feel like you're willing to sacrifice your existence in order to remain in your character, and like that's more rewarding than
It's
being
method
level
acting.
20.
Yeah.
You know.
I love method acting.
But to kind of circle
It's
back
so
a little
bad
bit
for me.
while I'm on a little TED talk here.
TEDx.
Like what I'm thinking of is particularly this comic called East of West. Very summarized. The Civil War did not end, and so like what happens to the country afterward. And then there's also the kind of like major villains are what is it, like the Four Horsemen minus one of them. They come, eventually humanity defeats them, there's like a time of peace, and then they are reborn eventually.
Yeah, they
and
come
it starts
again.
up again, right? Like Sin from Final Fantasy X, whatever.
Yeah.
Man, fuck Sin.
One of the horsemen decided not to die, and then had a kid with somebody. And now that kid is, I probably like the Antichrist. I haven't gotten far enough in it. I don't even know if they've released far enough into it. And it's kind of like, there's this really cool concept of what would happen with all these different countries, and then there's kind of an outside force with it, and then it just becomes about a couple different characters. and their weird journeys.
It like very literally loses the plot.
Like you could have it, like you could set that in so many different ways and have the same character. Like it's just like a background to a lightsaber duel.
Yeah.
Like it could be any background. It's about the lightsaber duel. You know what I mean? So that one's probably something that I hear you on comic books. They can follow some very similar trends.
Yeah.
So-
thanks for coming to Q's TED Talk.
There's one part.
We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
I struggle doing this, man, because my mind goes in a different way.
And it's why I want you on these things, because I'll run out of things to say real fast, but I know you won't.
You get me started, man. I'll fucking go.
So, every time we're all sitting in this specific... They can't see it, because fuck them.
Uh-huh.
But, like, whenever we're all sitting like this, and the mic's just there, I can only think of that fucking meme of, like, is Fortnite really dead, or, like, is Fortnite, like, a bad game? And it's just these, like, 12-year-olds just sitting around on, like, a couch, like, leaned over, like, they're about to have this, like the meeting of the world powers. And for some reason, that's always what I get, is when we're just sitting around, there's just a camera. Gross. Oh, that tastes terrible. And then we're just like, we're sitting there being like, does Bruno Mars is gay?
When does your body work?
Great question. I'll
Is
get
it
back to
just
you.
constantly failing? You don't even seem to like, it's not even one of those situations where it's like the ship is falling apart and you're trying to duct tape it back together. It's just like you're driving along and just one of the masts falls off and you're like, well, I like that. And then you just keep going.
The axle flies off and you're like, oh, I'll just buff that out later.
Yeah,
Your fucking car.
You don't even pretend like you're gonna fix it. You're just like, oh man, that sucks worse now than it did.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna pay for that in like a couple minutes.
That's eternally bad from now on.
I don't know, man. I think I've gotten to the point where like I could lose an arm and be like, probably didn't need it that much. I guess I better learn how to play Dota with one hand.
I'm just saying, it's baffling to me the number of times that you're attempting to like do something and your body just veers in a hard left.
Like when we were fucking recording Fate Excella, and twice during the session, I just bite my tongue.
It's not even a matter of like uncoordination. It's just like there's literally an autopilot that you cannot or have not figured out how to shut off and rather have learned to live with.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure it's because I dedicate like 70% of my brain power to my various speech impediments. My stutter, my lisp, like I dedicate so much focus into trying to speak like a normal person, and it's really fucking hard.
Why? I don't speak like a normal person, and you guys understand most of what I say.
It took years of practice, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I already mumble, so.
right. People will understand you or they won't, and then you just get mad and start pointing, and then eventually you get to talk to the manager, and they help you.
Alternatively, you call the President of the United States of America. So, like, I would be a lot less concerned about my speech impediments if a combination of a lisp and a severe stutter wouldn't prevent me from completing 3 words in a row, if I didn't think about it really. Because...
I mean, that's fair.
You've heard it at work, where I'll just kind of loop on, like, these 2 words over and over, because I'm trying to focus on, for one, because the next word is going to have very many S's. And my brain's just like one or the other. Lisp, stutter, stutter. Let's go with stutter here.
I mean, we could live in a world where we just teach people sign language no matter what language they speak.
Alternatively, we speak Russian.
You wouldn't have to use it if you don't want to. But it'd be universal communication. You could add things on it.
Unfortunately, sign language is different based on the location that it is done in.
Right. Well, that's why I'm saying a universal.
What
US
about for
now?
people who are missing fingers?
Fuck them, they're not people.
They can speak. I'm not saying it's going to fix everything. What about the people who are too stupid to learn sign language?
What if they're
And
deaf?
they just speak.
What if they're deaf and missing a finger?
Well, you know what? Life's a bitch. Sometimes you take lemons in the face.
I think young Q-Bear has some of my favorite analogies because like 90% of the time they don't make sense in context, and then he'll apply it to something else and it's like, I get it now. It finally makes sense.
Again, almost like I'm speaking a sign language. Just takes a little bit of context.
I'm just saying. You're,
You know,
you're gonna be walking somewhere someday. You're gonna be walking in the store, and you're gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get myself some eggs and milk because I drank all the milk because I drink a lot of milk."
He does drink a lot
And you're
of milk.
going to be approached by a gang of deaf, fingerless men, and revenge will be theirs.
How? They don't have fingers.
Couldn't
can't
they
grab
still
me.
understand it and then speak?
They don't
Sharp nubs on the end
have.
of the
They're
wrist.
deaf, so they won't hear the gun cocking. Nor will they know why their buddies are suddenly falling out of nowhere.
And perhaps they won't hear the bats whacking them on the side of the head.
I'm just saying, they still have sight, and they got plenty of feet. You know.
Yeah, and so does he. And he can run and then also hit them with a car.
Nah, see, they've endurance trained for this. He insulted them. Today,
Are
here
these-
and now.
Are these related to the octopi that have been trained in the anti-CPR methods?
You hear me? The revolution starts now. We begin training tonight.
So cut off your fingers.
Cut off your fingers and kill your ears.
I'm doing both of those already.
It's time to fight Q-Bear.
We're here to We're here to fucking. We're not leaving. Except we are. Thank you for joining us today.